Hey everyone, Liam here, welcome to this match preview and prediction for match between Carlos Alcaraz and Jack Draper in the quarterfinals of the Rome Masters. Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, as always, if you enjoy the content on the channel, please like and subscribe. Really helps grow the quality shot tennis community. We've got a rematch of the semi-finals at Indian Wells, but now here in the quarterfinals of Rome between Jack Draper and Carlos Alcaraz. Of course, a matchup which always brings a lot of firepower to players who have extremely strong forehands and really just like to take balls on the rise and take the ball early and just try and dictate play as much as possible. It's one of those matches where whoever is playing sort of a little bit more consistent and managing to sort of make less unforced errors is going to win it. Carlos, of course, going into their matchup in their semi-finals in Indian Wells, played really good in the first set, and perhaps you could say, Draper played really well in the first set, but perhaps you could say he played so well against Carlos that eventually there was going to be a sort of dip in terms of, I'm actually winning this first set extremely easily, that it's like one of those scorelines you see when a set 6-1 or 6-love, the next set, a lot of the times you end up losing it. And that's exactly what happened. Carlos found the way to improve the aspects in his game that weren't working. Draper potentially wasn't expecting that to come through based on how the first set had went, and he lost that set 6-love. Going into the third, both players had a much clearer idea of what to expect. Draper was just much better on the day in terms of managing his shots consistency, and his serve, obviously, placement was a lot better than Carlos's, allowing him to hold his serve better, but also allowing him to take a little bit more of a swing on the return games when Carlos was serving. Draper's now here in the quarterfinals of Rome. He's played an incredible clay court season so far. I think he's obviously he reached the final in Madrid, but I think he's either totaled or gone above all of his previous clay wins just this season compared to his historical wins. So you can tell he's made massive improvements on the surface. But when you're coming onto clay and you're coming against Carlos Alcaraz, who has looked very good here in Rome, obviously he played a tough match against Karen Khachanov, but he's looked very good. Draper's going to have a lot to work with. Carlos, obviously, we expect him to sort of steamroll through matches consistently. He had a fair few opportunities after winning that first set to go up a break in the second. The match sort of turned it around on its head, and in the end, it was actually much tighter than you would have thought going into that third. It's one of those matchups that I think Carlos probably needed, just to understand exactly what the little aspects in his game are that he needs to be worked on. Karen is a very good player at sort of just thrashing you and hitting the ball extremely solid off of that forehand and trying to be a little bit more consistent on that backhand. It's a good preparation coming into this match against Jack. I think Jack will know, he's won against Carlos and he played an incredible match to do so in Indian Wells. It's not going to be easy to do it again back-to-back. I think Carlos will also know, I can't lose to Draper back-to-back going into the French Open. What would that do for my confidence? What would that do for the confidence of opponents that I potentially could be facing at the French Open? It's one of those matches where he needs to win. He needs to at least reach the final here in Rome, and he will know that the best chance for him to get into Roland Garros and be in his absolute best possible is to get as many sort of tough matches through his system to sort of find his range of motion, his sort of mentality, and put himself in a better position going into the tournament than he did in the last few years, which, he had a great tournament last year winning it, but if he can position himself better to go into this year, it's perfect. I think this match is going to be tight as always. I do reckon that Carlos will want to make a bit of a statement, so I don't think the first set will be as sort of dominant as you might think for Draper as he did in Indian Wells. I think Carlos wins the first set. Draper can definitely win a set here and take it to 3, that's for sure. But I think, in my opinion, Carlos wins it in straights, potentially like a 7-5, 7-6 or a 6-4, 7-5, something tight like that. But I wouldn't be shocked if Draper manages to take a set here and make Carlos sweat a little bit more. But I think Carlos gets himself into the semi-finals here in Rome and does it in style.